First of all, thanks to everybody. Thanks to everybody that came out. Congratulations to Miami. It's a tough night. I am proud of the competitiveness our kids showed, the way they prepared for the game. Really in all three phases. Miami's got some pretty explosive players on offense and some pretty dominant guys defensively, and got away from us there a little bit at the end, but our guys laid it on the line and competed, and I wish we'd found a way to get this one done, but we didn't. So, questions?
Did you have an initial sense of what bogged down for you offensively in the second half, because it was a promising start, it seemed like offensively?
Well, I think it was pretty easy. The second half, we drove down and missed a field goal on the first drive. On the second drive, we drove down and fumbled. On the third drive, we got a little something going, got a holding penalty, ended up in 3rd and 16. It's pretty tough. And they stopped us on another drive. I mean, they're pretty good. By then, the game was pretty far out of hand. So, there you go.
With Ryan Willis, his confidence level, do you
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
With Ryan Willis, do you get a sense his confidence level has regressed at all? Some of the throws where he wasn't under pressure, not those ones, but just he would miss a guy kind of wide left or right. I mean, it just not as crisp with some of the throws on screens too. I mean, do you get that sense at all? Or?
Well, I don't think it's a confidence thing. I mean, I do think that we were a little off target on some. There was one play in particular where we got bail and Ryan threw the conversion. The receiver was right, which, Ryan knew it immediately as soon as he threw it. But there's a couple of them curls, particularly early that aren't, that he has been certainly more accurate with. And then part of that is, that's an aggressive defense. I don't know what they're ranked in the country, but they're in the top 5 in the country in defense. I mean, they're pretty darn good. So they'll get a quarterback moving off his spot a little bit, but I thought he was competitive and battled in there to the very end.
And then with that punt return touchdown, is that a play that stands out at the end of the day? Because it wasn't just execution. Players kind of gave up, kind of took their eyes off things. I mean, does that stand out to you as something?
Well, there certainly was a moment of relaxation there. You could see it on the field, and that's just, it's not. We have not been great in coverage. I felt like, the last 2 years we've been fantastic. Really, really, really good. And, a lot of those players that made those plays are not here, and we're bringing some people along in that area. And, I just felt like, and I have to watch the film before I make a judgment on it, but I felt like when he pointed and the ball hit the ground, there was a little bit of relaxation there. And he is so fast now, and, you saw what happened.
Ryan took a number of big hits, including one at the end that looked late. What did you see on that play that kind of touched things off a little bit?
I mean, that's why they flagged it. It was a late hit. It was a personal foul, I guess. I mean, they hit the guy away from the ball or supposed to protect the quarterback.
You mentioned some of the throws and the execution. But in terms of the toughness that Ryan has shown really throughout this stretch, but particularly tonight, what did you see from him in that aspect of the game?
Well, he's a competitive kid. He loves playing. He is absolutely tough and brave. And, is out there playing as hard and as good as he can play.
Justin, were you guys geared up a little bit more for them to try to run on you because you guys had struggled so much against the run?
Well, we certainly felt like that would be part of it. They essentially, got the ball on the perimeter in zone coverage, and were hard to handle out there, and then got us in man coverage and then ran the ball inside the box with the zone read into a 4-2 box with a safety for the quarterback. So it wasn't very complicated, but they executed it well.
And have you ever had a situation like this in your career where you're kind of going into Sundays or Mondays kind of with the same message several weeks in a row trying to bring something back together again?
Well, this is the youngest team I've ever coached. Have I ever coached on teams that have struggled before? Absolutely. And that's part of coaching. And I love the way our kids are coming to work, and I love the way they're preparing. Like if you know, our practices are energetic and focused, and really focused on improvement. And I told the guys I still believe in them. Like they're still continuing to improve and work hard and have good leadership. And you know, there's always guys that don't play as much as they want, that wish they were playing more. But you know, I don't know if I'm answering your question other than I'm saying, you know, they're battling, and they understand what we're saying. It's a lot easier said than done. I mean, I know it sounds overly simple, but you know, to be able to make yourself do that against good people, because they're going to make plenty of plays. I mean, my goodness, like, you know, you go play against people like Miami with that kind of talent, they're going to score, and they're going to prevent you from scoring. But it's all the other times, too, when you got to be there and got to be disciplined enough to execute on a consistent level that we're trying to get to.
Coach, Dax had a sack in the first half and seemed to have a big night. What can you see to him about his potential, and what did he show tonight?
Well, the interesting thing about Dax is, and I do enjoy talking about him because he's a unique person. He's one of the rare people in life that whatever endeavor they take upon, they throw their mind, body, and soul into it. Whether it's his grades, whether it's welding, or whether it's football. I mean, he is just able to throw everything into whatever endeavor he chooses. And that's the way he approaches football and this team. And he is you know, studious, trying to improve, conscientious, trying to get better, emotional. He's got some great leadership qualities for the future. And then also continuing to try and get better as a player. I mean, there's an element of making plays and being a good player that's got to come along with that. But, you know, he's fun to be around every single day. And I'm proud of the strides he's taken, and he's got several more strides to take.
With the offense, I think it was 9 straight drives tonight without points, and you've kind of had similar stretches the last 4 games. What prevents you from making more sort of, you know, drastic is the word, changes, like with personnel or you know, play calling, not who's calling the plays, but just the, you know, plays you're calling? I mean, what prevents you necessarily from doing that after some, you know, it's been now weeks where it's kind of been
There's
similar.
no more personnel to put in. Like, we got the guys out there playing. We dressed out 8 receivers today, and there's nobody else to put in. All our tight ends played, and, you know, we had McLeese, but he was, you know, for emergency purposes, he's been out for a couple weeks. Like, the guys out there are the guys that are playing. We keep putting, their job is to put them in a position to have success. And when you do that, you take a game, and, you know, there are obviously other people on the other side that have scholarship players and coaches too, and there's times when those guys make plays. But when we have those opportunities, we have to go do that. And, I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel in 4 days of preparation. It just doesn't happen. You just can't.
Coach, when you look at that third quarter, was there one thing that kind of specifically went wrong, or was it kind of just a multitude of things that, after only being down 3 at the half?
Well, I mean, we missed a field goal. We fumbled. We had a holding penalty on offense. On defense, they lined up in 2-by-2. We were in man free, and they ran the zone and pulled it and gave it some because they had hurt us on the perimeter with the perimeter game when we were in zone. I mean, and then we gave up a punt return. I can't remember if that was in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, but there it is. I mean,
a couple more. Aaron. Justin, you've spoken many times about this being a special place and the support that you get here and all that. Does that add an extra layer of frustration, the fact that this, you know, at home you guys have struggled mightily against some of these better opponents?
Yeah, I mean, no on frustration. I refuse to use that word, but I understand what you're getting at. Like, we want to do well for our fans. I want the kids to have success. So it drives us every day is to push our kids to be the best in all areas of their lives. And an element of that is performing for the people that appreciate the work our kids put in, right, which are the fans that show up. So absolutely, like, I'm sure they're upset. They're not more upset than I am. I can promise you that. And We're working every single day to continue to improve, and I know we are. I've never been more confident in the future of this football program than I am right in this moment. But that doesn't make anybody feel better for tonight, you know. But, yeah, we want to do well, absolutely, 100%, right here and continue the tradition of playing great football here and rewarding the passionate people that spend their hard-earned money to support our kids. Absolutely we want to.
One more in the back. Shout it out, Eric.
Coach, speaking on your offense again, I know points have been hard to get in the second half of the past 4 weeks. How hard is it to keep the team motivated during a halftime and try and make the adjustments to what you and your coaching staff want to see and come out with points with that?
Well, it hasn't been hard to keep them motivated. It hasn't been hard. You know, you're a little limited in the adjustments you can make when with a little bit of inexperience, like a guy like, I don't know, Isaiah Ford that's played a whole bunch of games. It's a little bit easier to do some of those things with, but I don't think that's been a huge issue for us.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
You bet.